Hey, everybody listening in. Hey, you're tuned in to the Missouri Sports Network here. It's high school game day on this week 6 Friday and high school football weekend. Guy Newcomb here coming to you live from the Missouri Sports Network studios, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And presented by Lyuna Labor's Local 663, our Team of the Week sponsor, Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, our Athlete of the Week sponsor. Our studio sponsor is Central Bank of the Ozarks, also presented by Doak Propane. Doak Propane, for all your propane needs, see the folks at Doak. Also presented by Great Southern Bank. Great Southern Bank with more than 100 locations in 6 states. Great Southern Bank cares as much about your money as you do, and they understand what really matters. Member FDIC. We'll run through some scores, some schedules. We'll hear from some coaches from around the state. We'll hear from our athlete of the week, from one of our athletes of the week from Reed Spring High School, Chris Daniels, as he set a new single-game rushing record with 373 yards last week against Marshfield. We'll be visiting with him and talk a little bit with Coach Andy McFarland about their upcoming game tonight as they travel to Seneca. On the scoreboard so far today, Abigail Tague from Camdenton won the Day 1 meet champion in the Camdenton Invitational. She is from Lebanon. And the girls cross-country team at Lebanon, the varsity girls, are the team champions at Camdenton. On just some softball scores going on today, as Republic downs Morrisville 2-1. Camdenton then down Morrisville 6-3 in the Springfield Invitational. Elsewhere, Nixa in softball, they defeated Glendale 3-2, and Liberty then 10-4 over Glendale. Also, Sherwood participating as well. Sherwood falls to Kickapoo 4-3. Kennedy Diggs, though, 6-inning pitch, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 11 strikeouts, as she's continuing to add to her career record, strikeout record for the entire state of Missouri. She also had a home run in that game, providing the only run there. Elsewhere, Rockbridge softball. Congratulations, as something special happened last night. Senior Sydney Fullerton became the all-time hits leader with 173 total hits. This record was previously held by former All-State Bruin Madison White. Congrats to Sydney on this milestone, and we'll try and catch up with her earlier this week. Congratulations to Avery Helms on getting her 1,000th dig for the Hal Vikings last night. A great accomplishment for the Viking. Congratulations, Avery. And we'll run through some of the scores from last night in softball. Here are just some scores that we have. Well, these are already scores from today. We'll run you through the scores from today. We talked about Kickapoo over Sherwood. Oak Grove also defeated Blair Oaks, and these are softball scores. Nevada then defeated Sherwood later on that day. Branson over West Plains 4-1. St. Joseph's Academy defeats Fort Zumwalt. Those are softball scores from today. We'll check last night's scoreboard on the softball side of it. Here in the state of Missouri was Webb City over Branson 5-2. Brookfield defeats Schuyler County 13-3. It was Brunswick over Meadville 7-1. Boonville defeated California 10-3. Hillcrest falls to Camdenton 14-4. Cameron over Bramer 5-3. Carrollton over Richmond 15-0. Cassville shuts out Aurora 11-0. Centralia blanks Clark County at 10-0. Glendale shuts out Central 19-0. Macon over Chillicothe 9-1. It was Clayton over Jennings 11-1. Again, these are softball scores from last night. Pleasant Hill defeats Clinton 17-7. Corjazoo over Valley Park 19-3. St. James defeated Crocker 12-2. It was Dixon over Cuba 20-5. Donovan defeats Van Buren 12-2 or 12-1. Neelyville 9-5 over East Carter. Lynn over Eugene 10-9. It was Excelsior Springs over Winnetonka 11-4. Fort Osage defeats St. Joe Central 11-3. Francis Howell over Troy Buchanan, 2-0. It was Crane Valley over William Chrisman, 15-0. Raytown South over Grandview, 22-1. Halfway defeats Dadeville, 11-1. It was Hallsville over Eldon, 15-0. Jamestown over Higbee, 7-1. Jackson defeats Chaffee, 11-3. Festus over Jefferson Festus, 13-1. Jeff City defeats Owensville, 12-8. Kearney over South Harrison, 5-4. Elsewhere, Kirkwood defeats Fox, 7-3. Knobnoster over Lexington, 10-4. Lafayette St. Joe falls to Savannah, 10-2. Lebanon over West Plains, 5-1. Blue Springs defeats Lee Summit West, 8-7. McDonald County, 9-5 over Logan Rogersville. Marceline over Fayette, 10-3. Mercer over Tri-County, 16-2. Metro defeats Soldan, 15-0. Mid-Buchanan over Lawson, 3-2. These are softball scores from last night. Norwood over Lakeway, 11-5. Notre Dame St. Louis defeats Rosati Kane, 20-5. Odessa over Warrensburg, 16-6. Penny defeats Lathrop, 18-8. DeSoto over Perryville, 16-3. Elsewhere, Raypeck goes to 21-3 as they defeat Liberty North, 4-3. Platte County over Raytown, 18-1. Republic defeats Carthage, 8-7. Renton over University City, 12-2. St. Elizabeth, 11-0 over Russellville. Smith Cotton defeats Marshall, 6-3. Smithville defeats Ruskin, 15-0. St. Francis Borgia, 9-1 over Summit Christian. Over Union. Summit Christian defeats St. Teresa's Academy, 6-2. Staley over Park Hill, 7-6. Hartville over Stoutland, 8-0. Washington defeats Fort Zumwalt North, 17-2. Wheatland over Wablo, 4-2. Wright City defeats Clopton, 8-5. And Neosho over Willard, 6-2. Got a chance today to catch up with our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week here on the Missouri Sports Network. We go down to Reed Spring, Missouri, and bring in Coach Andy McFarland and our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week, Chris Daniels. Back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Certainly glad you've tuned in. And to our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week segment, we go to Reed Spring High School, and we bring in head football coach Andy McFarland. Coach McFarland, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the coverage.
You bet. Big night with senior running back Chris Daniels. Set a school record rushing for 373 yards in a single game. Talk a little bit about his performance the other night.
It was sometimes when a guy has a whole bunch of yards like that, it really stands out. There's a whole bunch of 50-plus yard runs. That wasn't really the case for Chris. He did have a couple of very long runs, but most of those gains were 10, 15 yards at a time, and it was just consistent over 4 quarters. And in my opinion, that makes it a lot more impressive that you had the yards that you did have, almost 400 yards. I mean, we had a lead late in the game and took Chris out, put in some of our younger guys. I think Chris probably could have had over 400 if we would have left him in there for all 48 minutes. But it was a pretty incredible performance, and it was one of those things where after the game, I was told how many yards he had, and it was kind of shocking. I couldn't believe 373. That's an incredible number. It's a record that's been standing at Reed Spring High School for over 20 years, and it's not one that I don't think many people thought that we would break with our particular style of offense.
Yeah, about how many carries do you have that information?
Yeah, he had 33 carries for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Unbelievable, and a big conference win as well as you're playing at Marshfield on the road, and they came in 2-2, so they had played well.
Yeah, they came in 2-2, and they had won their last 2, and they had put up some big numbers with their offense, and they've got some pretty explosive athletes on their sideline as well, and so we had to make sure that we were all tight with the game plan and good to go. It's our first game on grass this year, and so that was a little bit added element. And there was a little bit of rain late in the week last week, and with all those things, being the circumstance, we were extremely pleased with our performance as a team, and especially with Chris.
And Chris is alongside there. Chris, thanks for coming on to the show today.
Yeah, no problem.
And on behalf of Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks and the Missouri State Highway Patrol, congratulations for being named an Athlete of the Week.
Thank you.
In your mind, as you go back, to that Friday night with Marshfield, did you have any idea that you were putting up those kind of numbers?
No, I had no idea. When Coach told me after the game that I had that many yards, I was shocked, and everyone else was too. I had no idea. I didn't even think I had over 250. It was crazy.
Were there a particular play that was working real well for you? I mean, when it came into the huddle, the call comes in, or from the sideline, you kind of eyes light up and think, okay, I've got a chance here to maybe pick up some big yards.
Yeah, there's a certain play. It's Clemson. What is it?
We're running counter.
Yeah, counter. Counter was working real well for us, and that's the play I knew I'd get some yards on.
As you're in the backfield, Chris, and again, we're visiting with Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week, Chris Daniels from Reed Spring High School, setting a new single-game rushing record for the high school at 373 yards. As you come to the line of scrimmage, or actually you're in the backfield, what are some things that you're looking for? Where do your eyes go? You're trying to find the Mike linebacker, the safety. What are you paying particular attention to?
A lot of the time I just, see where my linemen are going, and I just cut off their blocks. And then, I do look at the linebackers and see where they're going, and I try to, avoid them a little bit. But if I have to, I'll put my shoulder into them. I trust my linemen a lot, so I just, kind of watch where they're going and just read off where they're blocking and everything.
Now, being a senior, Chris, have you made any, decision about next year? What are you going to be doing?
I looked into it, and I'd enjoy to go to college, for football if I got a nice opportunity. But I never really planned on going for football. But this year, I think it'd be nice if I go to college for football.
Well, these numbers that you put up Friday night, that's going to perk some eyeballs for sure. But again, Chris, on behalf of Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks and the Missouri State Highway Patrol, congratulations for being a Week 5 Athlete of the Week. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Coach McFarland, now you've got a game here tonight. You've got a very good Seneca team. And you're at Seneca. What are your thoughts going in tonight? What are some things you're going to have to do to come out on top?
Looking back to a year ago, that I felt like the Seneca game was kind of a turning point in our season, and I think we had a couple of them. We had a special season last year and a special run late in the year. Seneca is a great team, and they have been a great team for a while. And Coach Cody Hilburn does an amazing job down there. It's really obvious that the kids are well coached. They know where to line up. They know what to look for, and they play extremely hard. And a year ago, they came up here to us and got up on us 21-0 in the first half. And we scored before halftime and kicked a couple onside and recovered them right out of halftime. And I think about 2 or 3 minutes into the second half, we were in the lead 28-27. Then it was back and forth, and Seneca pulled away late, but we were in that game for the entire time. And after getting down to that early 21-0 lead for Seneca, and then us battling back, it kind of instilled in us a lot of confidence that we can play with the best teams in the state, and it kind of helped propel us to the success that we had for the rest of the year. We're bringing that experience along with us this year, and we're really excited about the opportunity to play at Seneca. I've never been there before. When I was the offensive coordinator at Hillcrest, we played Seneca 2 years in a row. The first time was at Hillcrest, and then the second time that game was on ESPN. We played it at Missouri Southern. So I've never got to go to Seneca yet. It's one of the only Big 8 schools I've not coached a football game at. Really excited about that. Seneca, they've had an incredible year so far. Obviously, they went a couple weeks ago and gave Lamar one of their first home losses in a real long time, and their defense has been incredible. They've had several shutouts and held Lamar to 14 points offensively. With the Mars kid at tailback and the Hoover kid at quarterback, they're returning all of their skilled players, and they've done a good job of making plays in the run game and then hitting the play action pass over the top. It's very similar to the approach that they had a year ago, and so we've done our best to try to prepare, and we're really excited about the opportunity that tonight presents us. It's also a district game for us as well, so it's something that we've talked about, the opportunity to gain some ground. Right now, Seneca's in first place in our district, Mount Vernon's in second, and we're in third, close behind Mount Vernon. So it's a big week for us. It's a big opportunity. I know our kids are ready to play, and we're fired up about getting to go down and kind of play on what it's going to feel like a pretty big stage tonight. And we're looking forward to kickoff at 7 p.m.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate your time. And again, congratulations to Chris Daniels. And Chris, good luck tonight. And we'll be watching and we'll be reporting on the score here on the High School Football Friday Night Live.
Thank you.
You bet. Hey, you guys have a great day.
You as well. Thank you very much.
And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Hey, special thanks out there to Coach Andy McFarland for having set that up or helping set that up. The video was unable to work at that time. We'll take a quick time out, and we'll come back and we'll run through some of the games of the night coming up here in week 6 of high school football.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job, so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get a $500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo engine. Plus, unlock your code to claim $500 Chevy CyberCash. Visit ChevyCyberCash.com today.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports or activities.
Hey, welcome back to High School Game Day here on the Missouri Sports Network. We'll run through some of the schedules here going into week 6. And we'll talk a little bit with here in just a minute with the MICDS head football coach. If I can type up this right. Fred Bouchard was kind enough to join us earlier today, and we've got that recorded, and we're going to play that here in just a minute. But first off, just kind of run through some of the schedules going on tonight in high school football. Midway will be at Adrian. Adrian is 5-0 at this point in the season. 5-0. They're Class 2 District 5. Elsewhere, Marshfield will be at Aurora, a battle of 2, 2, and 3 teams. St. Vincent is at Bayless. Maryville is at Benton, as Maryville looks to go 5-1 on the season. Liberty North is at Blue Springs, both members of Class 6 District 7. Liberty North 4-1 on the season. Blue Springs is 2-3. Camdenton will be at Bolivar in a battle of 2 4-1 teams. Neosho is at Branson. Schuyler County is at Bramer in 8-man football. Bramer 5-0. Schuyler County 4-1. Macon is at Brookfield. Buffalo is at Butler. Thayer is at Kabul. Boonville is at California. Savannah is at Cameron. St. Francis Borgia 4-1 at Cardinal Ritter 5-0. Richmond will be at Carrollton. Nevada tries to stay perfect as they travel to Cassville. Harrisonville will be at Center. Farmington is at Cape Central. Kennett at 4-1 is at Central New Madrid County 5-0. Valley Catholic is at Central Park Hills, and we got to catch up with Coach Schweiss from Central Park Hills earlier today, and we'll play that interview for you here after a bit. Vianney's at Chaminade. Haytie's at Charleston. SLU is at DeSmet. A couple of Class 6 District 3 teams going at it there. SLU 4-1. DeSmet 5-0. And DeSmet dismantled CBC a week ago. So a tall order for St. Louis for the Junior Billikens. Fredericktown is at DeSoto. Caruthersville is at Dexter. Forsyth is at Diamond. Archie 5-0, and they travel to Drexel at 4-1. Archie, the number 1 ranked team in in 8-man football. Warsaw is at El Dorado Springs. Stratford is at Fair Grove. Mid-Lakes battle there in a big rivalry game. A game that Stratford won kind of going away a year ago. But Fair Grove has got most of their team back, but Stratford at 3-2. Maysville is at Fayette. Poplar Bluff is at Fox. Fort Zumwalt West is at Francis Howe. Mexico is at Fulton. Lebanon is at Glendale as Lebanon tries to stay unbeaten. Herculaneum is at Grandview. Jasper is at Greenfield. Kirksville is at Hannibal. Southwest Livingston County is at Hardin Central in 8-man action. Elsewhere, Hazelwood West is at Hazelwood Central. Capital City is at Helias Catholic. Waynesville is at Hillcrest. Windsor Imperial is at Hillsboro. North Point is at Holt. Ava is at Houston. Sykeston is at Jackson. Hickman at Jefferson City. Priory is at John Burroughs. Ruskin is at Kearney. Holden is at Lafayette County. McDonald County is at Lamar. Penny is at Lathrop. Knobnoster at Lexington. Lockwood at Liberal in an 8-man game. Rittenhour, 4-0, is at Lindbergh. CBC is at Lipscomb Academy in Tennessee. Hollister is at Logan Rogersville. A couple of teams there out of the Big 8 that will next year be members of the Mid-Lakes. Wellington Napoleon is at Lone Jack. Mark Twain is at Louisiana. MICDS is at Lutheran North. And before we go any further, let's hear what MICDS Rams head football coach Fred Bouchard has to say about tonight's meeting. Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Presented by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. Lyona Labor's Local 663, who reminds us to drive safely in work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. Also presented by Central Bank. Great Southern Bank, Doak Propane. We go now back up to St. Louis. A familiar customer here on the Missouri Sports Network, MICDS head football coach Fred Bouchard. Coach Bouchard, thanks for your time today.
Hey, great to be here, Guy. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you got a big win last week against the John Burroughs team, played on Saturday. Tell us a little bit about that contest.
You know, that's a unique rivalry because whether it's a home or away game, you know, the rotation every other year, it's homecoming for both teams. So and we have a weekend of contest against John Burroughs. So it's not just football. There's a soccer game, which was a great game, just 4 hours, and volleyball game and field hockey. And so there's all kinds of stuff, varsity JV, that's going on that weekend. And it makes for a really pretty cool environment. We were fortunate in the football game. We were successful against our arch rivals. So that was, I'll call that a good day, you know, beating them, 42-13, I think was the final score. So it ended up being a pretty good ball game for the Rams.
42-13 was the final there. And now you've got, coming out of that game, you guys come out of that relatively healthy here as you go into week 6.
We are. Yeah, we are. We really feel pretty good about where we are in that regard. I'm sure like everybody else, when you're in week 6, you have some bumps and bruises, but for the most part, feel pretty good about the guys that we have, guys that we have with us. So we'll see. You know what? This is the kind of time of year where, sickness actually seems to be hitting our team a little bit more than in terms of having anybody out than injury. If we can avoid the bug here, the next 20, 15 hours or 12 hours or whatever it is, it'll bode well for us.
See, now you've got Lutheran North, and you're there. You're at Lutheran North. They come in at 5-0 as well. Tell us about what you're going to do to come out on top tonight.
Well, this is obviously a great opponent. They're ranked number 1 in Class 4 in the state. They beat earlier in the year the defending state champions in Class 2 in Blair Oaks and Class 5 in Francis Howell. That was a great game, and happened to be able to attend that one. They won the last play of the game. So they're really an explosive football team. DeCorey Hollis is a quarterback. He's a junior, but he's got a really vast skill set, not only throwing the ball accurately down the field, but he can take off and run, and just what you'd want for a dual threat quarterback. So they have great receivers in Clark and Wells and Barber. They're just Benson, excuse me. They just really are pretty talented. And they've got a really good line on the defensive line. They put 2 really large high school football players of the 6'4", 6'5", 370 variety kid inside as their defensive tackles, and they just kind of become huge space eaters for A gap, B gap plays. And you got they're actually pretty good athletes. They move pretty well, and their feet move pretty well. They use their hands pretty well. And then on the edge, they still have that athleticism at the ends and outside linebackers. I really, really like their inside linebacker. Jefferson is an outstanding football player, and I've just having watched him on film, he just he just is an excellent tackler. He has a really good nose for the ball, and when he gets to somebody, he does a great job getting them to the ground. And so there's a lot of things that Coach Wagner has going on. I think it's a good coaching staff that will be well prepared. And in my 4 years here, this is my 4th year here. They're the only team to hand us a regular season loss. So we know what we have in front of us, and we'll have to be awfully good tonight.
What do you feel like the Rams are doing real well right now? Your team?
We felt like we've been a work in progress. We had some new starters who kind of had to answer the call, and I just think some of our guys have done a great job elevating their game and becoming highly effective in their spots. And we knew we would be pretty decent on defense. Like that's where we had a good chunk of our front folks up. Carter Enyard is a Division I talent. Luke Algier is a junior who's a Division I talent. Peyton Simon, both 2 linebackers. And Willie Carpenter, who was an all-conference player. When we run into those guys, we just felt like that we had the solid core. And while we were learning about ourselves offensively, having replaced 75 touchdowns from a year ago, that we knew that we still had a pretty salty defense. So I've been pleased with what our defense, and it just seems like our offense is just kind of they've kind of over the course of the last 5 weeks just started executing the things we do well and finding our identity and doing some of those things better certainly than they did week 1 and week 2.
Coach, if later on tonight we post these scores and it's a victory for MICDS, are there going to be maybe 1 or 2 stats that you're going to point at and say, hey, this is why we won this game, or this is how we won this game, whether it's penalties, turnovers, and typically those are the easy ones, but
yeah. I think I'd look at 2 things outside the penalties and turnovers, some of those timely things. I do think that like a year ago, they ran the ball effectively against us, and we're built to kind of step up and defend the run. So if they run up and down the field on us, we're probably having a long day. That a year ago they were able to do that. So we'll see. We got a lot to defend when it comes to that. There's a lot of talent and speed on that football team. The other thing I'd look at is big plays. Like if it's an interesting stat that if they're able to produce a half dozen plays that are 20, 30, 40 yards, it's going to be a long day for us. And on the other side, I think it's similar for them. If we're able to run the ball effectively and we hit some big plays, then we become a team that's pretty hard to beat. So those are things I think, and they're kind of a givens, but I thought I'd give a little different answer than penalties and turnovers.
No, it's outstanding. I'm intrigued by coaches going into games thinking, okay, this is kind of what we need to do. Just got done visiting with Reach Spring head coach Andy McFarland. He's on his way to Seneca, and he said last year we went down 21-0 early, and then we took a 28-27 lead, but we couldn't hang on. We just can't get behind early, and so I'm always interested, especially when you've got the familiarity, of having played the last several years. But Coach Bouchard, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time here today, and good luck this evening, and go out and get a win, and maybe we can get you on the scoreboard show later tonight.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, we'd love to call about a win. That'd make for a really good night against any football team. So appreciate all the time.
MICDS head football coach Fred Bouchard. As always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. And welcome back to High School Game Day here on the Missouri Sports Network. We'll wrap up some of the football games going on around the area here before we take our next break. As I mentioned, that was MICDS at Luther North. Both teams are 5-0 there. East Prairie is at Malden. Kirkwood is at Marquette. Moberly is 5-0 on the district, and they will travel to Marshall. Rockwood Summit is at McClure. North Platte is at Mid-Buchanan. We got a chance to catch up with Aaron Fritz, head coach at Mid-Buchanan, and we'll play that interview here later on in the show. Liberty Mountain View is at Mountain Grove. Springfield Catholic is at Mount Vernon. Carl Junction is at Nixa. Nixa's still undefeated on the season. Festus is at North County. Lee Summit is at Oak Park. St. Charles West is at Orchard Farm. Hallsville is at Osage. Appleton City is at Osceola. Appleton City 4-1, Osceola 3-2. Rollins at Parkview. Parkway West is at Parkway North. Marionville is at Pierce City. Marionville also undefeated on the season. St. Genevieve is at Potosi. Smithville is at Raytown South, another big game there. Joplin is at Republic, another game with state-ranked teams. Northland Christian is at Rich Hill. St. Mary's Southside is at Columbia Rockbridge. Miller is at Sarcoxy. Sarcoxy still unbeaten on the season. West Strand at 4-1 is at Scotland County. Reed Spring is at Seneca. Clever is at Skyline. North Shelby is at Slater. Bowling Green is at South County. South Holdet, South Nottoway. Springfield Central travels to St. Dominic. St. Dominic, Class 5-0 on the season. Pattonsburg is at St. Joe Christian. Santa Fe at St. Paul Lutheran. Liberty is at Staley. Sherwood is at Stockton. Herman is at Sullivan. Battle of 2 4-1 teams there. Stewartsville is at Tarkio. Timberland is at Troy Buchanan. And again, these are football games scheduled for tonight. Union at Warrenton. Melville at Webster Groves. Rockport at West Nottoway. Kickapoo is at West Plains. East Buchanan is at West Platte. Webb City is at Willard. A much improved Willard team. Webb City 4-1. Willard 3-2. Tipton is at Windsor. St. Charles is at Winfield. William Chrisman is at Winnetonka. Stanberry in 8-man football, undefeated, 5-0 is at Worth County, 4-1, and Montgomery County is at Wright City. We'll take a break right now. We'll come back with some other interviews that we got to catch up with some coaches of some big games going around the state of Missouri. You're listening to and watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Back after this.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The Walnut Street Inn is located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street. just blocks away from the Missouri State campus, Hammonds Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports or activities.
Welcome back to High School Game Day. High School Game Day on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. My name's Guy Newcomb, a.k.a. the Scoreboard Guy. Hey, tonight, take an opportunity, and you can tweet at Scoreboard Guy or tweet at Missouri_sports, and we'll stay tuned at 9:30. We'll have the Friday Night Live with high school football scores from around the state and coaches' interviews as well. Speaking to that, we got to catch up with Mid-Buchanan head football coach Aaron Fritz earlier today. They've got a big matchup with North Platte coming up tonight. And here's what he had to say about his matchup. Back to Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Here on our Liuna Labor's Local 663 Teams of the Week segment, we go north to Mid-Buchanan High School, home to the Dragons, and head football coach Aaron Fritz. And, Coach, hey, thanks so much for your time today.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, it's been a little while. We used to eat lunch last year a couple times up there at the pizza range for our meetings up there, but good to kind of catch up here. You guys are off to a great start, 4-1. Kind of put this season, halfway through, a little over halfway through. What's it been like to this point?
Man, I wasn't sure what to expect. Last year when we talked, I talked to you about we had 10 seniors, and all of them were pretty much out there all the time, and we played some different guys, but it was really a senior-heavy team, and we had a couple kids move schools and different things like that, and we graduated all those kids, and we only brought back 2 starters on each side of the ball. So when you have we knew we'd have smaller numbers this year, and we only have 30 kids, but 27 of them are non-seniors. We have 3 seniors, and we only have 11 kids on our team that can even drive a car. So I knew it'd be a challenge to fight kids to know exactly what we were wanting in terms of effort and intensity and physicality and stuff like that. And I say fight as in you got to teach them and they got to learn. And they did a great job this summer. We've gotten a ton better since week 1. I feel like we've improved a ton and grown up. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't sure what to expect out of this group, but I'm very proud of them because we bring back hardly any experience. But our kids play hard, they're playing fast, and they're trying to learn as much as they can every week. And we have plenty to learn, so it's a lot for them.
What at this point of the season, midway through it, what do you feel like your team's doing really well right now?
Well, we're growing up. We play a lot of sophomores, but we've gotten older in terms of the experience, so that's made a big difference for us. We're running the ball a little bit better than I was expecting to. When you replace 4 of your 5 offensive linemen, and those guys were 3-year starters, 2 or 3-year starters up front from last year, that's a big thing to replace. And our guys up front have come a long way. They're getting better, and so that's really impressed me. And then, something we started out doing to start the year is we turned the ball over quite a bit because when you have a 15-year-old quarterback, you're going to do that some, and he's gotten better too. And he really grew up last week and did some good things. So I'd like to think our running game's got better. Our turnover margin's gotten a lot better. We're +7 this year, which is good for us. That's a really good number. And honestly, something we've been really good at too is special teams. We've been very good on special teams, and that's a big deal because we have lots of freshmen on special teams. So we're getting lots of experience, lots of guys' time, and hopefully it pays off in the long run for us.
Again, visiting with Mid-Buchanan Dragons head football coach Aaron Fritz here on High School Game Day, presented by Great Southern Bank. Great Southern Bank with more than 100 locations in 6 states. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters. Member FDIC. Coach, And obviously you're going to have bumps and bruises at this point of the season, being a little over halfway, but are you relatively healthy?
Man, something that we felt right away was probably our best linebacker. His name is Clayton Burleson. He's a sophomore, and he has some. I know there's some genetic stuff to it, but it doesn't matter. But he has a back injury, and I don't think we're gonna get him back. And we had him for like 3 plays week 1, and he just started acting like something wasn't right. And we got him checked out, and there's a problem back there. So that's the only kid we don't have. All the rest of them are out there. They're healthy. They're practicing every day. We're getting after it. So in terms of like attrition, we're doing very well. But man, we've played without probably our best defensive player all year too. So that's been a challenge for us because even though he's 15, he's a pretty good linebacker for us and would make a big difference.
And now you got homecoming, and you've got a pretty good North Platte team coming in at 4-1. What do you know about North Platte?
Yeah, I mean, pretty good might be underselling them, man. They're tough. They're physical. They're big. We played them twice last year, and the first time they had every opportunity to kind of jump ahead of us and maybe win that game. And just I think our experience and just the way we've played for a long time kind of took over, and we ended up pulling away at the end. Then the second time we played in that night that everybody played in the rain, big storm night. It was soaked. It was pretty gross outside, and we just looked like the older team that second time. But man, they're all back. I mean, I don't know how many seniors they have, but I'd say a third of their team is 18 years old and they're seniors. So they're very experienced. They play hard. They're very well coached. Coach Quigley does a phenomenal job, and they just know how to win now. Last year, I think you could see they were learning how to win. They were trying to learn how to handle winning. And now they're at that next step of what are they going to do after they win? Well, they move on to the next one and try to get the next one. And they've been great all year. They've hammered people. They've won close games. They've lost a close game to a really good football team. They've already had the experience of everything this year. So we know we're going to be in for a fight. They're very good, and we're going to have to play very well if we even want to have a chance to compete.
Hey, Coach, you guys, a member of the Class 2 District 8, kind of handicap that. I know it's one of the tougher districts in Class 2 in the state. You've got East Buchanan and Trenton as well. And you guys are right there at 4-1 as well. Kind of handicap that a little bit. How many of the teams you get to see outside of obviously you play East Buchanan?
We played Lawson and Lathrop already, and they're in our conference also, and they're in our district. And I'll tell you what, Lawson's a team to keep an eye on. They're very good, and we were very fortunate enough to sneak away with that one. And East Buchanan's in our district, and we play them in 3 weeks or something like that. So we'll see them here soon. But the other teams are not in our conference. Trenton's in the GRC. South Harrison's in the GRC, and Brookfield will be in the GRC. So we don't have a lot of crossover with them or see them a lot. So it'll be interesting if we have the opportunity to play one of those teams to get film and look at it. But we just don't see those teams a lot in anything we do. So I can only speak for the conference, and our conference is really dang good. So our district's going to be very good and very competitive.
Coach, if I wake up Saturday morning and look in the paper or look at scoreboardguy.net and see that Mid-Buchanan defeats North Platte, is there one or two stats you're going to be able to point to and say this is why we won?
Yeah. I don't know what stat that would be necessarily in terms of winning the line of scrimmage, but we would have won the line of scrimmage. They're a run-heavy team. We're a run-heavy team, but we both can throw it. But whatever guys are playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, that's the team that's probably going to win this football game, and they're very, very good at it. And we've got to keep getting better. So that's a huge matchup for us is can we win the game up front? Can we even compete up front? So we'll see what happens there. And then what are Kirkham's stats, their quarterback? Did he run wild on us? Did he throw it everywhere? Did he make a bunch of plays? Did they have him return on special teams and he gets the ball a couple more times and more touches? Like, what did they do with him, and how did we handle him? If we can keep him in check and not let him go crazy, it's going to give us a chance to be in the football game. But if he goes crazy like you've seen him do, especially last week, we're going to be in big trouble. So winning up front and slowing him down is going to be a big deal for us.
Very good. Well, Coach, hey, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time here on High School Game Day as part of our Lion Labor's Local 663 Team of the Week segment. And good luck at homecoming. And, hey, get a victory, and we may send you a text and say, hey, Coach, join us on the scoreboard show tonight. So, and that's via phone, so you don't have to have a camera or anything. So that
I
works
appreciate that, man. That's good. No one wants to see this face. Oof.
Hey, I'm sitting here in the dark. My light's not working, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. But, Coach, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow.
Welcome to the cottages at Fairhaven Cove. This resort spans 12 acres on a quiet cove on Table Rock Lake. You will feel right at home in one of the newly renovated cottages. Options include studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom units. These units have been beautifully redone from floor to ceiling and offer both comfort and style. Each cottage has a fully functional kitchen, deck, or balcony with incredible lake view and outdoor entertainment area complete with a grill. Whether a couple or family, the perfect space awaits you. RV parking at Fairhaven Cove is now available to all guests as well. This is an ideal spot for a weekend getaway or family reunions. 4 full hookup RV parking sites are offered. Each site is complete with a picnic table, grill, Wi-Fi, and digital TV upon request. All guests have access to the numerous amenities that Fairhaven Cove offers. 2 boat docks are available for use. You can take a dip in the lake, fish, or house your boat. Cape Fair, Missouri is not only a great location for boating and water sports, but is also known as the bass capital of the world. The calm waters of the cove is the perfect place to have your next adventure. The resort offers kayak and paddleboard rentals to guests. Life vests are always included. There is a playground for kids to enjoy and hiking trails to explore. An in-ground pool is sure to make a splash with guests of all ages. And what better way to end the day than around a fire? A large fire pit is available for s'mores, fun, and memories. These amenities and more will be sure to entertain you and your family. The Cottages of Fairhaven is on the quiet side of the lake, near Cape Fair Marina and Flat Creek Restaurant. A short drive will take you to Silver Dollar City, Branson Landing, the show boat Branson Bell, abundant shopping, shows, museums, and some of the best golf in the Midwest. Reach out to your host today to book your next vacation.
And welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Certainly glad that you have tuned in, and as always, presented by Liona. Liona Laborers Local 663, feel the power. Liona Laborers Local 663, our Team of the Week sponsor. Also presented by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks for 10 years now has sponsored our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athletes of the Week. Another big game going on tonight is Pleasant Hill at 5-0 in Class 4 District 5. They traveled to Oak Grove, who is 4-1 tonight at 7 o'clock, and had a great opportunity to catch up with Pleasant Hill head football coach Justin Hamilton.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank.
And welcome back to Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, presented by Liona Laborers Local 663 and our Team of the Week. And we go to Pleasant Hill High School, home of the Roosters, and head football coach Justin Hamilton. Coach Hamilton, thanks for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Coach, you're off to a great start, 5-0. Let's talk a little bit about your season start and coming into this season. Obviously, with graduation and things, who and kind of what positions did you kind of have to replace?
Coming in, we graduated 22 seniors last year, which was just a lot for us, and lost in the state semifinals. And we had to replace 10 guys on offense. We returned 1 starter on the offensive side of the ball, and that was 1 receiver. So we had to replace our entire offensive line. We had to get a new quarterback. We did have a running back that started middle linebacker that did play some running back for us last year, but he wasn't our full-time running back. And we had some spots to fill. That being said, defensively, we felt pretty good about the defensive line we were returning and our inside linebackers and our defense. We knew coming into this year that our defense was going to have to carry us and get some stops so our offense could get rolling in some games as the season progressed.
Off to a 5-0 start. You're just a little bit over halfway through the season. Are you relatively healthy right now?
Defensively, we're pretty banged up front right now. We lost a kid on the last defensive snap against Odessa last week to a knee issue. Brody Kohler was a 2-time All-State kid for us. Probably going to be a 3rd-timer this year. He got hurt on the very last play of the game. And then we had a defensive end who week 3 against Harrisonville broke his hand in the first quarter, played the entire game with a broken hand, had surgery the following week that we hope to have back here in the next week or two. And we got another defensive end, Carter Hole, who's has got some bruising going on, and just they're so big and physical that we're beat up front right now. So one thing we've talked about is we got to adapt and overcome, and our kids have handled it pretty well so far.
Visiting with Pleasant Hill head football coach Justin Hamilton here on the Lionel Labor's Local 663 Team of the Week focus. Coach, a little bit about yourself. How long have you been at Pleasant Hill? Where did you go to high school, college, and how'd you end up there?
I went to Odessa High School. Grew up in Odessa, Missouri, and then went to Central Methodist University and played football there for 4 years in Fayette. And out of college, got hired as a business teacher and assistant football coach at Belton High School, where I was at for 13 years. And then after 13 years there, I always wanted to be a head coach. It's kind of, you got to see the right jobs open up. And, I grew up in a school similar to the size of Pleasant Hill and played football at a school similar to the size of Pleasant Hill, and knew that's kind of a place I wanted to be. So this is my 4th year as the head football coach here at Pleasant Hill.
Well, outstanding. Now you've got a very good Oak Grove team that you're going to travel to. Tell us a little bit about Oak Grove and what you're going to have to do there in that contest.
They're physical, and Pat Richards, the head football coach there, does a good job, and he wants to ground and pound you with what they do offensively. They're big up front. They got some physical running backs who run hard, and we're going to have to stop the run because it's one of those situations this week to where all he wants is 3 yards, and he'll go for it on 4th and 1 every single time to keep our offense off the field. And offensively, we just got to get going sooner. I told our team this week that, we've asked the defense to kind of carry us throughout the year until we could get going. Now it's time for the offense's turn to help out the defense with us being so banged up on that side of the ball. And, they're 4-1, and we've talked about winning the conference title. And, we played at Odessa last week, who's a really good football team in Class 3 that I think is going to make a deep playoff run. And we were on the road last week, so we've kind of preached that we got to be road warriors if we want to win a conference title. And we got another big one this week against Oak Grove, who's only lost us to Odessa. So,
Coach, tell us a little bit about your conference. And a lot of times people across the state don't exactly know whose conference. We just had a group down in Southwest Missouri, Hollister, Reed Spring, and Springfield Catholic. They decided they're leaving the Big 8. So it's a year-to-year deal. So kind of handicap your conference a little bit.
We play in the Missouri River Valley Conference to the west side, Class 3 and Class 4 schools. It's us, Harrisonville, Odessa, Oak Grove, Warrensburg, Clinton, and Center. And, it's a gauntlet. I told our kids after we played Harrisonville week 3 to start conference play. It's been conference play since then. I told our kids, I said, it's going to be physical. It's going to be a gauntlet. And, we've seen that, we were pretty physically beat up after we beat Harrisonville in week 3. It's a physical gauntlet. Each week you're going to be playing a physical football team, and you got to match that physicality or exceed it if you want to be able to win football games. And that's what our conference is, man. And it's that way every year. And, it's so level across the top that I think I told somebody before the season started, whoever ends up winning the conference is probably going to have a conference loss underneath them just because of the way our conference is.
Your Class 4 District 5, right now you're atop that district with the 5-0 record and 45.5 points. Talk a little bit about your district and when do coaches start looking at those numbers, and trying to figure out what we got to do?
We kind of keep an eye on them all year long. In our district, this is our first year being in Class 4 since I've been here. it's so big from east to west that, I mean, we could have to travel to Jeff City possibly. And when you got Osage in there, you got Marshall, Warrensburg, who we'll see in conference play, Van Horn, who's Kansas City area, just how widespread it is. And, that's kind of one thing I've talked to our coaches about is I think it's pretty important that we get a 1 or 2 seed and get to host a majority of those games so we don't have to travel that far. And like I said, we always kind of keep an eye on it. Ultimately, it's going to play itself out. That's the nice thing. This isn't like other sports where coaches have to vote on, with seeding and things like that. The numbers take care of itself. So as long as we kind of just control what we tell our kids, control what we can moving forward, hopefully by the end of the season, we're kind of where we need to be at in terms of district seeding.
So what time are you guys getting on the bus? How far of a travel is it to Oak Grove?
We'll probably get on about 4:15. It's about 30-minute bus ride. Not very far. I like to try to show up around 5, give our kids about 40 to 45 minutes to get dressed, get taped, whatever they need to do. And we start on the field about 5:45 every game.
Outstanding. Well, if I go to scoreboardguide.net or the MissouriSportsNetwork.com the next morning and I see that Pleasant Hill came out victorious, are you going to be able to point at 1 or 2 stats? They're going to say, hey, this is why I won the game, whether it's turnovers, penalties. Are there 1 or 2 stats you're worried about going into this game?
I think turnovers. I think if we don't turn over the ball, that we're not giving their offense who wants to drain the clock extra possessions. I think their run game we got to be able to stop. And one goal, we have a goal of the week for our defense, and that's 3 yards or less on average per rush. If we can maintain that, and then I'll be honest, I think the difference is special teams. We're really confident in our special teams. We spend a lot of time on them. And I think that has the opportunity to play a big part in this game. I think it's why we won last week, as well as our offense and defense have played. But our special teams were solid and no mistakes and forced a turnover. And, if we can play well on special teams, I think that's going to have a large impact on the game as well.
Well, outstanding. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being generous here with your time, and we look forward to visiting with you. And it was nice to meet you for the first time.
You too. You as well. Thank you for what you're doing for high school football. We need more people doing stuff like this.
You bet. You bet. You're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Hey, it's great to catch up with Justin Hamilton there, the head coach of Pleasant Hill, as they got a game with Oak Grove later on this evening. And, hey, now it's 6 o'clock almost, and we've got a couple more interviews to bring you, and we may try and track down someone that's maybe live at the Hillcrest West Plains game to kind of preview that and some of the others that are going on. But first, before we do that, we got to catch up and talk with Central Park Hills head football coach, Coach Schweiss, here earlier today, and talked a little bit about some of the adversity that they're going through right now with players getting injured. So without further ado, here's my visit with Coach Schweiss from Central Park Hills. Hey, it's the Missouri Sports Network here at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Presented by the Bank of Billings. The Bank of Billings, established in 1898, the oldest bank in Christian County. Also presented by Doak Propane. For all your propane needs, see the folks at Doak. We go now to Central Park Hills High School and head football coach Corey Schweiss. Coach Schweiss, hey, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Guys, off to a good start, 3-2. You sit atop your district right now. With that record, your Class 3 District 1. Talk about the season up to this point as far as it's gone.
Well, we've probably handled more adversity this season than I probably have in the 20 years I've been coaching. We have really high expectations for this season, and we've been hit with all kinds of injuries. So, we're hoping to get our guys back at some point this season. I don't know. Right now, I think maybe we've just had one that might be a season-long thing. So, we started out real good. Started out with our 3 wins, and then in the Cape Central game, lost our starting All-State quarterback on the first offensive series. Also lost another All-State caliber wide receiver, defensive back early on in that game. And we've kind of been battling all kinds of other injuries. So it's really just been kind of a, trying to put pieces together the last couple of weeks, and it's been pretty rough on us. But we're hoping that all of this will be some adversity that'll help us down the stretch run. Hoping we get healthy for the right time of the season.
They've got a big game, this week with Valley Catholic coming into your place. What do you know about Valley Catholic, and what are you going to have to do there?
Well, Judd Nagger is one of the best coaches in Missouri, in my opinion. We go way back. We were high school teammates. We were college roommates. So we coached our first football game 20 years ago against each other. So we've got a lot of history. We didn't play each other for a long time, and our school and Valley both, have been pretty dominant schools in Southeast Missouri in our classes. And I think a lot of people wanted to see us play each other, but with the history Judd and I had, we do a lot of talking outside of our teams. We did a lot of talking with each other. So we just never played each other after those first few years. And then, last year they joined our conference, and they actually got bumped up because of the success factor to Class 3. So we ended up having to play them twice last year, and we split. And I think everybody, at least in this area, thought it was probably two of the best games that they've seen in a long time with two pretty good football teams. So, it's probably one of those things that was probably a good thing that it probably eventually did happen. I think both teams were at a place where it was hard to find good competitive games locally. And this year, I think the expectation was to be a really, really high caliber, good game again this year. And, I think the injuries to our team have kind of put a damper on that a little bit, but obviously we still expect it to be a pretty good football game.
You talk about your history there, 20 years of coaching. Kind of give the folks or the viewers a little bit. Where did you go to high school and college, and how long have you been there at Central Park Hills?
So I went to I actually graduated from Valley Catholic back in 1994. Went to Lindenwood College. At the time, it was just an NAIA school before it moved up to Division II and now Division I. Played a little bit of baseball there, but I didn't really play football. But my experiences playing high school football at Valley, and going to the state championships every year, really gave me a feel for what I wanted to do. And then when I got out of college, I started at a small school in Bismarck, and they didn't have football, and I was only there for a year and a half. And then this opportunity came open at Central. Come over here, was an assistant coach for 4 years before I took the head coaching position back in 2004. So it was tough at first. We didn't have very good football here. It took us a few years before we got it rolling, but since about 2010, we've had a pretty successful program. We've gotten to the quarterfinals 8 of the last 11 years. So we've had some success, but we were having trouble getting over that hump. We've traditionally run into some really good teams like the John Burrows with Ezekiel Elliott, or the Cardinal Ritters. Recently, the Cardinal Ritters and the St. Mary's with all that real good Division I talent. And, that's kind of where our season's come to an end. And we just keep wanting another opportunity. So one of these days, maybe we can crack that Final Four.
You mentioned you've got several kids out. What's preparation been like, going into this contest?
It's been, and I'm not just saying this, but this has been the hardest 2 weeks in my coaching career as far as preparation goes, just because of a lot of the unknowns. We've got some guys that are hurt, but we don't know when they're going to get back. So you got to almost plan for if they're back and if they're not back. So you got to do 2 different types of game plans, and then you got to worry about guys knowing what they're going to do if they're in different spots, because some of the guys that are playing would play 2 or possibly even 3 different spots, depending on who's all going to be available. So it's been really tough for me personally. I know for our defensive coach, it's been really tough. And then for our players that are going to be for sure playing, it's been tough. We're overloading them with a lot of information, and it always worries you as a coach that you're putting too much on their plate. This isn't a college and pros. You don't have all day to get this stuff figured out. You've got about 2 hours after school, 4 days a week or whatever. And I'm just worried that we're putting too much on their plate. And we honestly, at this point, still we don't know who we're going to have. So it's tough. It's been really tough, and it's been mentally draining. I'm sure I'll be able to sleep really good this weekend after this one's over.
Well, Coach, and I apologize. I had no idea that was going on in your program, but I certainly appreciate you being generous with your time here through their adversity. It sounds like you've got your hands full, but knowing your history, I'm sure you're going to come out of it pretty well.
Yeah, like I said, we've got the big picture. We've got the big picture. We're looking ahead at the big picture. We know Friday's not going to be easy. Valley is like I said, very well coached team, and it's not going to be easy. But regardless of what happens Friday, we got big picture in mind. We're going to get a lot of our guys back, and then when we do, hopefully we can make a run at this thing. We're the 1 seed right now in our district, but St. John is actually the 2 seed, and they beat us last week by a point without our guys. So it's likely that they'll jump us at the end of the season. We'll probably have to, if we're fortunate enough to play them again in the district, we'll probably have to go down there. But that's fine with us. We don't care where we play them as long as we have our guys back. And hopefully if we got our guys back, we can make a little run.
You bet. Well, Coach, and again, we're visiting with Central Park Hills head football coach Corey Schweiss here on High School Game Day on our Lion Laborers Local 663 Team of the Week segment. But again, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time, and we'll be watching and hoping and praying that everybody comes back healthy.
Man, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
You bet. You're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network. Certainly glad that you have tuned in. We bring in now, I believe we got Alan Hilliard from Alan Hilliard Sports on the air, and he's live at Hillcrest. Alan, how's it going?
Going pretty good here. It turned out to be a beautiful evening.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be really nice this week. A little bit warm for this time of year, but hey, if you get down into the 70s, it's going to be gorgeous out there. And you got to match up tonight with Waynesville at Hillcrest. Waynesville 1-4, Hillcrest 0-5. Does Hillcrest get a win tonight, or is Waynesville just going to be too good for them as well?
I think right now it could go either way. Waynesville has a good running game. Their offensive line is really going to have to step it up here. Hillcrest, they can move the ball when they want to. Last week they had a lead over Rolla for a little while. Like I said, I think it's going to be whichever team can make the least mistakes tonight.
Any other games across the Ozark Conference that you're paying particular attention to? I know Kickapoo is at West Plains, and maybe the best game of the night may be Camdenton at Bolivar.
I think that may be the Ozark Conference game of the week here, just because both those teams are pretty close to each other, and they're, something could happen. They're not far out from tying for a conference championship still.
As you look at Waynesville, you look at that, just even that district there at Waynesville. Of course, they've jumped to Class 3, so they're with next to Kickapoo, Joplin, Waynesville, and Ozark, and right now Waynesville's sitting in the 4th spot. They need to win. They need to continue to win in order maybe to get a home game in that first round.
Yeah, the good thing with the way that district is working out is Ozark has a much tougher schedule the rest of the season than Waynesville. That's what's helping them along. And really, it's going to come down. I think it's a matter of like 2 or 3 points difference. So it's still a toss-up. Every game at this point is really going to make a difference of who's going to get that first round, not bye, but first round home game.
Yeah, right now it's actually a half a point difference there as I'm looking at that district. But Alan, you guys kick off at 7 o'clock. What time are you going on the air?
We'll be live about 6:45, 6:50 here, getting ready for the game.
All right, very good. Well, hey, thanks for checking in, and maybe we'll talk to you on the scoreboard show as you make your way home.
Not a problem. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Alan Hilliard from Alan Hilliard Sports, as he's getting ready to cover and broadcast the Waynesville Hillcrest game. Well, that'll do it for us here on High School Game Day. Certainly glad you've tuned in. And as always, hey, remember, hey, shoot us a text or a tweet or an email if you've got something that you want to get out on the air. Maybe it's an athlete of the week. Maybe it's a team of the week. Or maybe just a score. But as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Everyone have a great night of high school sports, and we'll talk to you on Friday Night Live.